Hey, good to have you back. I'm Ryan Frank, and this is the KidMin Word. We've been in Acts 2 this week, and today I want to start by sharing something personal with you. I want to talk about moments in ministry when the Holy Spirit shows up in ways that you completely did not see coming. Because that is exactly what happened in Acts chapter 2 on the day of Pentecost. The disciples were gathered, they were praying, they were waiting. And then suddenly, we talked about this yesterday, the Spirit arrived in wind and fire and a rushing sound that filled the whole house. Now, nobody planned that sound. Nobody designed that fire. Nobody wrote it into the schedule or into the program. God just showed up. Now, Beth and I have been in ministry for a long time. We're getting old. And I can tell you that some of the most significant moments that we've ever experienced have been the ones that we didn't see coming, the ones that we didn't plan. I was thinking this morning about a Sunday years ago, and I remember it as clear as though it was yesterday, even though it was probably 10 plus years ago, where we had everything planned out. The lesson was ready, the room was set up, the volunteers were in place, large group was ready, the small group stuff was ready. We had a full, tight schedule, and we were all feeling really good about it. And then this kid in our ministry, maybe 8, 9 years old, walked up to me before the service even started, and he said, "Ryan, I want to ask Jesus into my heart today." Just like that, right? No build-up, no worship music, no altar call, no carefully curated gospel presentation that I had rehearsed. Just a kid who had been processing something all week, maybe for weeks, plural, and the Spirit had been quietly working in his heart. And that Sunday morning, it all came to the surface. We sat down together. I remember it so well. We went out into the hallway, right there on the floor, outside of the large group room, and I walked him through the gospel. And there on that Sunday morning, not written into our schedule, nothing we had planned, he gave his life to Jesus. And I think about that moment often because it didn't come from my plan. It came from the Spirit's work. And here's what I want you to see in Acts chapter 2. Verse number 4 says this, "And they were all filled with the Holy Spirit, and they began to speak in other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance." As the Spirit gave them utterance, as the Spirit enabled them. They didn't generate this on their own. They didn't manufacture it through effort or preparation. The Spirit gave them utterance. The Spirit enabled them. And then look at what happened. If you read verses 5 through 11, which I probably won't read it all right now because of time. You read it later. What happens is that sound drew a crowd. Jews from every nation under heaven gathered together in Jerusalem at Pentecost, and they heard this sound. And then they come to see what's going on. And what they found was astonishing. They heard the disciples speaking in their own native languages. Parthians and Medes, Egyptians and Libyans, visitors from Rome, visitors from Cyrene, visitors from Arab. They all start hearing the wonders of God declared in their own language. And the miracle of Pentecost wasn't just a dramatic spectacle. It was deeply personal. Each person in that crowd heard something that was meant for them in a language of their own, a language of their heart. And that's what the Holy Spirit does. He takes what we offer, our preparation, our presence, our willingness, and he makes it personal for every person in the room. You may teach the same lesson to 20 kids on Sunday morning, but the Spirit is doing 20 different works in 20 different hearts. He's speaking to each one of them in the language of their own story, their own need, their own life. And that is not something that you have to orchestrate. You just show up. You just be faithful. You just be prepared. You just be present, and you trust the Holy Spirit to do what only he can do. That is what Pentecost in Acts chapter 2 teaches us. The disciples were there, right? And the Spirit showed up. And that changed everything. I'm Ryan Frank. This is the KidMin Word from Acts chapter number 2, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow.